Hello, hello, welcome back. To me specifically. Hi. Hello. I'm back. Pats for me? Oh, thank you, Zibian. Thank you. I'm back. I know it's only... Ooh, work story, wonderful. I say it's only been 15 days, but that's a lot of time in stream time. But I'm back now and you're not getting rid of me. I also wanted to, at the beginning of the stream, say thank you for the amazing rollout of my live 2D model art. I am blown away by all the support. It makes me very happy. Thank you. Alright. I have a work story for you. And I figure, hey, might as well make it a good one. So, my work story. Over the summer, this past summer, I taught coding. I know a little bit about coding, which you will know if you've seen my stabbing robot on Twitter or Tumblr. I taught kids how to code using Scratch, and I only had 2 kids in my class because the third one was sick, and it was a little summer camp thing. But my boss was just like, yeah, sure, why not? Let's just let the program go ahead anyway. What's the worst that could happen? So there was one kid who, he was brand new to the school and had never touched the coding language we were using before, and these are elementary schoolers. So I was like, alright, let's start simple. I'll help the other kid work on the game that he's working on, and I'll help this kid get the basics down, because there's only 2. I can give them, like, individualized attention. So I showed him how to, like, import images and change from scene to scene, as well as add sound, which sound was a huge hit. So what this kid did over a week of work, he found a little PNG of a mosquito, and there was this one sound. I'll try right now to imitate what it sounded like. It was like, it was basically like funeral music, kinda. So he took this mosquito, and I showed him how to edit the little, like, vectorized images included in it. So he made it so it looked like the mosquito had exploded. And then he put together several incredibly elaborate scenes of mosquito funerals. And you would just hear, ha! And there would be all of these little, like, JPEGs gathered around mourning this one mosquito, and he came up with an elaborate family structure for the mosquito to make it more tragic. Yeah. It was... Listen, me, him, and the other kid in the class, as bad as it sounds, were almost doubled over laughing, because it was literally just this cinematic music and then just a poorly edited PNG of a mosquito with, like, the Queen's Guard grieving over it. So it's just, he would be like, hey, teacher, check this out. And I'd be like, is it the mosquito again? And he'd be like, maybe. And then he'd press the space bar and it would be, and then mosquito. Yeah, so long story short, I'm gonna go back and teach that class again this summer, because of course I am. That's my kind of kids. Speaking of teaching, that brings us nicely into today's stream, where I will be teaching some art basics. Ha-cha-cha. So, As I'm sure the general public is aware, oh, let me put Pats back. Come on back, Pats. Where are you? Where did I put Pats? Pats! Yeah! So, I'm just gonna be doing some basic art lessons. You know, just easing back into the stream life. So, first things first. This is the PNG of my Live 2D model, which I drew myself over several months. This final image is the result of 4 years of art school plus a lifetime of practice. You will not be drawing like this in the first class. So don't beat yourself up over it. It takes practice and lots of messing up, as well as just finding your own personal style. Long lesson short, if you're happy with what you're drawing at the skill level you are, then that's what really matters. For me, I'm the kind of person who went in and edited individual pixels on the hair to make it look the way I wanted. Don't be like me. Nightbot, what did you do? Yes. Sorry, Nightbot. Sorry. I'll have to fix that. So that's not Automod, that is a Nightbot. I don't know why it's doing that with the caps. I will fix that after. Nightbot, goddammit. Alright. Already off to a good start, I see. But it would not be one of my streams if things didn't go wrong. Anyway. Model. Art. So, what I want to start with today is... Let's see, I didn't really get any questions, so I'm just gonna start with basic, like, object/animal design. So I am going to teach you how to draw a cat. Not a realistic cat, just kinda a cat. Let's see, can I untime out Zibian first? Zibian, come back. There's gotta be a way to untime out Zibian. Alright, while I untime out Zibian, I'm just gonna run a quick 30 seconds ad to disable pre-roll for 1 minute. I'll be right back. I gotta be able to bring Zibian back. Zibian... Zibian! Let's see, chat settings. Alright, we are switching to non-mod settings for now. And then we will go back eventually. So hopefully Zibian can escape from mod jail sooner rather than later. Zibian, I'm so sorry. Anyway, here's how you draw a cat, kinda. So we all know what cats look like. Let me see, I should have a picture of a cat around here. Desktop. And I'm sure if you follow me on Twitter, you're aware of the drawings I have done of friends as cat. If not, here's what a cat looks like, kinda. Oh no! Zibian's trapped in the void. Zibian, I'm so sorry. This is a cat. So, basically, how I draw cats currently is something like this. Oh no, Zibian. Oh no. Well, Zibian is trapped in the void for 5 more minutes, unfortunately. I think I've disabled Nightbot being a mod for now. I will fix it after stream. So, how I usually draw animals. Animals are a series of beans. It doesn't matter if you're making a realistic animal, doesn't matter if you're making a non-realistic animal. Animals are a series of beans. Here is an example. So let's say I want to draw a dog that's nice and curled up. You can start with a bean. So here is our dog curled up shape. You know what dogs' back legs look like? Beans. And then you just elongate the front beans. Head, also a bean. Ears, you're gonna want to make those some beans. And then, once you have your beans, hello, what's up? I'm just showing how to draw, kinda. We're starting with animals are a series of beans. I feel like I should mention, this is how I teach elementary schoolers. So now you've got your initial bean dog. Now you can use your bean dog as a base to draw actual dog. You just gotta unbean the bean. So if you don't have active reference of an animal to look at, I cannot recommend the amount of brushes you... I feel like a lot of things would kill a Victorian child, Kai. Mostly, like, learning about the existence of the internet would probably just be... that's it. Just, you mean we don't need to clean the chimneys? What is this thing called? Creep-toe. And then they die of black lung. Agree to disagree. I think anything would kill a Victorian child. Looks like we're just gonna have to invent time travel. And see who's right. Ta-da! I don't think you can kill a motherfucker who does opium on a school night. You'd be surprised. Never underestimated the black lung. Copium? Exactly. Also, welcome. I don't know who's just getting here, but Zibian is currently in Nightbot jail. No, Zibian! Nightbot, I thought I stopped you. Ah. Alright, so it looks like no caps for now, or Nightbot mad. Now why is that fine? Yeah, I'll have to mess with this after stream. What is going on? So, Automod and Nightbot are both fighting. Oh no, the girls are fighting! The girls are fighting! And oh no, now Cold is in Nightbot jail. Anyway, back to dogs. So, animals are beans. Hey, you drew a wiener! Congratulations! You're moving up in the world. That is another thing, you can use beans to draw. Let's see. What else is there that I can show you? I'm gonna put the bean animals in the folder first. Let's see, there's always... I mean, there's lots of things I can show you. I feel like hands might be a bit advanced to just jump right into, but there's always gesture drawings. Gesture drawings. So we know We know people. You know people. That's what a people looks like. So I have noticed a lot of people kind of have sometimes stiff poses on their drawing. And something that can help with that is gesture drawing, or gesture drawing, or whatever. Oh, nice. You were drawing on the Nightbot prison walls and accidentally just made a great cat. So for gesture drawing, you don't necessarily focus on anatomy or even where things go, you just focus on the fluid motion of the figure. So one thing we did while practicing this is you just use like basic shapes. In school, we followed like what a ballerina was doing. And you just draw what the shapes are up to. And then you can use that to flesh out a body. So you could have like a line for the waist. And you're already getting more like dynamic poses. So that's just the basic of gesture drawing. You basically make like a stick figure and then add flesh to the stick figure. Hey, nice. Of course, I'll have to split these all up into like individual streams at some point. This is just the basic rundown. I can move on to my favorite thing, which is fabric. So what I do for fabric is I usually just draw, like, to demonstrate it, a random shape. So this is who we're gonna start with. This is our test subject. For draping fabric. So I'm going to duplicate him a few times. So there's different types of fabric. And it all depends on kind of like the materiality of your fabric. So is your fabric, is it like super loose? Is it more of like a stiff fabric? Is it wrinkly? Is it smooth? So let's say we have like a pretty loose fabric on this feller. It's not gonna wrap directly around this hand. It's gonna kind of cascade off of the different contours until eventually it lands on the ground, where it kind of puddles. We're learning about draping fabric. And then at these little places is kind of where like wrinkles tend to gather. And there will be less wrinkles around areas where it's more taut, like this stomach, which probably protrudes a little. But then let's say you have more like a stiff fabric. It could start up here, and then instead of doing this little dip over here, just straight down to the hand. And this would be if you were working with like a canvas fabric or something like that. Actually, it probably wouldn't even have that little dip like that. When you're gonna see fabric that's kind of like billowy, that is the fabric that is... It's the fabric that's more like soft. Whereas fabric that is kind of more like, I want to say sturdy, less pliable, is gonna have those hard edges. Like the harder degrees. As well as less, you know, less wrinkles in general. It's probably going to have like a few big ones and create harder planes. Oh. So soft material. Stiff material. I don't know why I keep misspelling things. There we go. That should make it more obvious for people who are just joining in. Now I think I might go into a little bit of fabric shading. Because we've been just doing how you draw things so far. So here we have our soft material. Let's see, how do I want to shade my soft material? There's, of course, different ways you can shade fabric. A quick way that I tend to do it is there's various textures off to the side, but I'm going to ignore those for now. And just starts a shade in. There's also various brushes you can use that will give you kind of the texture that you might want. I'm going to shade this as a more glossy fabric. So for glossier fabrics, you tend to get those deeper colors in the areas of shadow. So let's say that this fabric's base color is this red. So the area you're going to see the red shine through is in the areas of shadow. And then you also need to take into account the lighting of the area that your fabric is existing in. So let's say that the lighting is this. On any of those peaks where the fabric is the most like sticking up, that's where the light is going to shine the most. And if your fabric is more of like a velvety, not velvet, if it's more like a satiny texture, then it's going to be somewhat reflective. So you also need to then take into account any surface that is around your fabric. So if your fabric is next to something that's like purple, let's say, then there would be purple appearing on some of the peaks of where that fabric is to reflect the thing that it's next to. And then I'm going to go ahead and fill in the base of this in a slightly lighter version of this red. It's just something that I had sitting around in my recently used colors. Yeah, it's a good enough start. Now, obviously, right now, this looks like a hot mess. But it will not when we are done with it. For this, I'm going to go ahead and... Actually, before I merge everything, something that I do a lot that you might see me do on my drawing streams is I will put a gradient over everything. And using a gradient can help, like, just give a more realistic sense of lighting to things. Because if you look at a surface, it is almost never just 100% uniform. There's going to be some variation in color there. Alright, and I'm going to go back into editing this. Luckily, I have lots of nice smudgers. One that I like to use is this one over here, which is the "Hey, you're free! Welcome back!" A welcome back cold. So, a smudger I like to use for fabric is this YN smudger that I got for free out of the Clip Studio asset store. Because, it creates kind of like these almost fold effects. And you can also change the particle density, which is kind of like how much noise do you want in your brush. This I have set to like midway. So I'm going in and just kind of diffusing some of the light over this material. There's also the beauty of blending layers. So if you did a glow layer, you could change how it looks, multiply. But for now I'm keeping it at normal and just showing you how I would do it with traditional paints. And then you can go in and add some more diversity to the areas where it's just kind of flat color. So there's one example of a draped fabric. Obviously, normally I would go in and change this around even more. But for now, this is it. I also, let's see, maybe I'll do a quick Gaussian blur to make this look a little more smooth. So you can get a sense of like the materiality of the fabric. Hey, yeah, freedom! So that would be a soft, shiny material. Now let's say you had a stiff fabric material, like a canvas. So if you had your little guy, and then you had your canvas on top. Let's see, yeah, there's the canvas lines. Yeah, they've, unfortunately the bots are unionizing, but I will not support this. I usually support unions, but, not for robots. So, let's say we have a stiffer material. And I'll just use these same colors. So this will be our fabric's base color. Also, usually just a good general like housekeeping tip is while I'm drawing, I'll just kind of designate a layer and put little swatches of the various colors I've used. Because certain programs don't have color history in them. And that way you can just go ahead and eyedropper tool what you've used so far. Instead of having to kind of like just keep on zooming in and zooming in to get those colors that you've been using so far. And just like hoping and praying that you choose the right area. So for this one, I'm gonna go in with a quick texture. You can actually build up texture on various areas to give it just a less smooth look than the other fabric you've been using. So this is same color fabric using the same little base guy, but it's just different types of fabric. And then you got your blue light. Exactly, invisibility cloak. You can see his little legs down here though. Oh, don't want to do that. Now here you'd still have some obviously evidence of that blue light that you've got shining. It's just going to be way more subtle because the fabric is not as reflective. And then I'm going to go in with some shading. So that's the basics of how like a stiffer material might work. And then of course, I'm gonna do my good old-fashioned gradient. Just to give it some nice variation. Ta-da! So that's fabric shading super basics, as well as draping super basics. Gonna go ahead and put this in its own folder. Alright, let's see. Next up. On super basics that aren't so super basic anymore. Let's see, do we want to do hands? Hands are hard. Maybe I'll start with faces, because I am not ashamed to admit that I learned how to draw faces from one specific Nickelodeon little cut-in advertisement about how to draw Aang from Avatar. And I've just used that as my basis since then. So, to draw a human face, I usually start with just circle. And since I have horrible control of my hands, I of course have to go around a few times to get it into the shape that I want. Sorry, coffee break. After you have your circle, I usually just make a jaw in whatever shape I want. So let's say you want a more like... You want your jaw to look like this. Then, after you have that, you got your basic human head shape. At that point, you can start dividing up your head. So start with a line down the middle. Then make a line through that. And I'm actually gonna go ahead and just use the line that lets me make perfectly straight lines. So now you got X marks the spot in the middle of your head. So around here, at around this area, that's where your eyes are going to be. And you want both of them, your ears here, and the mid area of your eyes to be there. And for eyes, of course proportions differ from human to human, but in general there's about one eye space between each eye. This is also where the tip of the bridge of your nose is going. And your nose would be around here. Next, we're going to make a line about here, and one about here. So you've got your head divided up. You can now start drawing a basic human face. So you got that, my very wobbly human face. So ears generally start right around where the eyebrows are. And then end right about like bottom of the nose. And ears, you just kind of learn how to draw as time goes on. They got all these weird things in them. All these weird little tunnels and whatnot. Eyebrows are generally right where the top of the ears are. But we'll go back and do those after eyes. So eyes. Usually how I do them is I start with a orb. So you can get the contour of how you want your various eye bits in there to go. Now, if the person you're drawing has a monolid or something, this is different. But you can usually contour the upper eyelid to where the top of that circle that you've designated as your eyeball is. And then some eyelashes. And you also have probably noticed that your eyelashes don't just come right out of where eye meets face. They come out of right about there, which is like a tear line, kinda. And then up here is where the brows are. So right at this juncture, that's where the top of the bridge of the nose is going to be. And right about here is where the bottom of the nose is. And a nose is also just one of those things that you're going to have to practice to get better at. Even I'm not the best at it. This is just the basics. And also, there's tons of different nose shapes out there. So there's not a definitive correct way to draw a nose. And then you got your little dip here. And your mouth. And generally, the edges of the lips are right about where the tear duct is. And I'll do my best with the mouth. I've never been 100% at it. So you can even see, for this person, how I've drawn them is they have a short chin and a wider face. Everybody's different. And then since I'm lazy, I'm just gonna copy and flip this eye. And I think I actually need to move the other eye in, because even with my guidelines, I messed up the spacing. So that is the basics of a human face. And then of course there's the fact that if you're going for realistic proportions, I can show you where the neck goes. So the neck, it's always wider than you think it is. It usually goes about right here. But on a lot of people, it is thinner. So like that. And then of course you got like veins and such in the neck that give it a different contour when there's like actually shadow going on and stuff. And then hair, everybody has different hairlines. So you could do it basically any way you want. Let's say we want our person to have hair kind of like that. Ta-da! Human head-ish. And once again, that is only if you want to draw a realistic human head. Alright, let's see. Is there anything that anyone wants any, like, advice on how to draw? Because if not, I can just kind of go into how to draw bodies. I'm gonna go ahead. Small mammals, you got it. I am going to go ahead and take a quick ad break while we prepare to draw small mammals. Goodbye, pre-roll, and I'll see you on the other side. Alright, let me see if I can find a nice picture of, like, a shrew or something. Yeah, there they are, a little shrew. I'm gonna grab this shrew. Correction, I will screenshot this shrew. And then take that screenshot and put it in the document. Alright. So from Cold, we have the request of small mammals. So I'm gonna go and grab the shrew that I took it from the internet. Where did I put it? Where did I put my shrew? Oh, shrew. Hmm. 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 Please hold as I find my shrew. There we go. So, small mammals. Like this little dude. So what you need to know about them is round, soft, and little beady eyes. So as usual, you can just kind of start with either a bean or a circle. You remember the beans that we went over, surely. So for this guy, you don't even need to add a head. Just add a little nub and little feets. As we can see, this one is going on an errand run. One thing that helps when drawing animals is when you draw the feet, they are never as close as you think they'll be. The front feet, back feet, that's how you can make, that tends to make your drawing look more 2D. So you can draw them with a farther distance between instead of foot, 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 foot. Of course, sometimes animals just stand like that. Who are we to say what they can and cannot do? But let's say you wanted to draw just like a totally original little roundy rounderson. What you could do is start with either a bean or a circle. For this one, I'm gonna start with... Oh no, what did I do? I'm gonna start with more of like a squat bean. Kind of shrink down this bean. Oh no, come back. So here I have my squat little bean. And sometimes they either have the legs that stick right out like the shrew here with little tufts that the legs emerge from. Or sometimes little round mammals have little like haunches that their little mammal legs stick out of. So maybe I want to make this guy kind of like leaning back. Well, that just looks like it's fighting. So you just kind of decide where you want to put a face. And then you just plop the face on in there. This right here, that's a mammal. It doesn't have any defining features except for this little area, but you can already tell it's a mammal and it is small. And if you want to make your own little like fantasy animal, reference goes a long way. Like for this, I'm kind of pulling from like a quokka with like the little chubby cheeks and general friendly demeanor. You gotta go? Alright, have a good night, Zivian. Bye! Well, that makes it look like it has a weird man face. We're just gonna stick to the little cheeks for now. And then maybe I want to give it little, like, hamster hands. A lot of the time, smaller mammals have these weird little claws that you wouldn't be expecting them to have. But a lot of them are from deserts where they have to, like, dig in the dirt a lot. And that's why they have those little hands. A lot of the times those hands have like little webbing between them. You just wouldn't know unless you like look up a hamster or pick up a hamster and you're like, show me your secrets, creature. And I'm just gonna add some more fluff to soften up the profile. And I'm just gonna make little legs sticking on out. Ta-da! Brand new mammal. Is it twisting its body in a weird way? Yes, but mammals don't obey our laws of how things work. I should know, I am a mammal. And I obey no laws. Ah. Ba ba ba. Of course, there's like the tube variety of mammal, where they're like weird little tube creatures. Now you see here I've just drawn a lizard, and that's a problem. That is just a skink that I drew. Oh, that's another thing I can talk about drawing. Reptilian characters. Which I know fits into the interests of at least one person who may or may not be watching. Reptiles. So you want to draw a reptile. You want to draw a dragon with big old muscles and a bad attitude. Here's how you get started. So whereas our mammals here, they are mostly made out of circles. If you want to draw a reptile, you're going to be using a lot of harsher shapes. So lots of squares and triangles. So let's say you want to draw like the profile of a larger reptile. You could start with a nice rectangle. And then you want to, a la Minecraft, make a muzzle. Then you can soften it up simply by going like that. And then you'd ease out of some of these harder edges. And since reptiles are usually predators, they have forward-facing eyes. So that's when you would get this side profile where the eye almost looks more like a triangle. And they got their weird reptile ears. And then you would just erase away these guidelines that you used. Ta-da! You drew a reptile. Proud of you. Now let's say you want to draw it from the front, because maybe you're making a character sheet for your OC that you're posting on something that rhymes with schminity. You would once again start with your good old rectangle. Then you'd put another rectangle that's dipping a little bit below, right there. So when you're drawing reptilian characters, they usually, you wouldn't think it, have little like snake smiles. Kinda like that. And you would use this to inform how your lower jaw looks. And of course the nose goes up here. And the eyes, they are now facing forward. so you could draw them differently compared to when you drew them from the side. Now obviously this is much too rectangular currently. So you're gonna go ahead and smooth out these edges. And go down into the neck. And that is how you would draw a more realistic reptile character. Or just, maybe you want to draw a snake, that's fine. I'm gonna go ahead and round this out a little. I'm also gonna add a little waddle to here. Big boy, exactly. And a lot of the times, reptiles stand weird. I don't know how to explain it other than they stand weird. Like, what's up with this stance, sir? Why do you stand like that? Why are you the way that you are? Like, obviously this is based off of a Komodo dragon. They got their weird splayed toes and they're just going waddle 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 around the ground. What's up with that? And now for a little razzle dazzle. He has a job. So if you're drawing arms on your more reptilian characters, it's pretty similar to how you're drawing them on mammalians. The only difference is, once again, are they feathered or scaly? I don't know if you can tell, but I draw a lot of dinosaurs at work. So that's the basic rundown on reptiles. And of course there's snakes and whatnot, which is just tube. And then you attach a square to the tube and smooth the square out and you get a snake head. Let's see, what next? Well, first I should probably save this, because I haven't this whole time. How about humanoids? So they're gonna be just the guy doing human stuff. Now for humans. There is a wide variety of proportions, of body types, etc., etc. How I generally break it down is I start with some general shapes. So if you're drawing a human, a good way to proportion it out is place your joints where joints go and use that as the guidelines on how you're going to add flesh. So I'm going to take this, and your next step, now this is a shorter person it seems, add some flesh. And I know that sounds way easier said than done. And honestly, it is. And I, most of the time, end up having to like lasso things, change proportions, etc., etc. But doing this will give you a solid base on both kind of like proportions, how you're gonna pose things. So yeah, you got your flesh on your guy. Flesh. And then you can go in using some reference and add some musculature. A good general rule that I tend to use is hands fall at about mid-thigh and the bend in the wrist is at about the waist. And for shoulders, generally you should be able to take a head and put a head on either shoulder. Now, like I said, there's all different proportions. If you stylize it, it's way different. Like, who am I to tell you you can't exist like this? No one. No, I don't want to cut the entire layer. So usually for myself, I can just skip the kind of like wireframing step and go right into body. But once again, I have years and years of practice. And of course, that's not how hands look. Do I care? Not currently. Another thing to remember, humans have various rolls and lumps. And let's say you're drawing someone who has titties. If you raise your hand, the titty near that arm is going to be higher than the other one. That's just how it works. So, that is the basics of humans. Now, let's do a drawing. Combining everything so far. So I'm gonna start with a reptile head, because why not? Because, you know, we can't keep it all educational the whole time. We have to have some cursed content in this. And let me tell you, as someone with a history of drawing incredibly cursed sexy lizards, I am right in my comfort zone. Gonna add some fabric bunching at the waist. As well as around where the sleeve area is. A little purse. I don't like that tail. Can't you feel yourself learning? Just gonna clean it up with the eraser a little. Ta-da! Knowledge. And now... Whoops, didn't mean to do that. I think I'm gonna add some color. Ah yes, the majestic crocodile. Imagine just walking into the lesson right now. I bet that would be fun. Alright, now it is time for some good old cell shading. I did not think I would be using a thick lizard to demonstrate demonstrate cell shading, but here we are. Life is strange. So cell shading, a lot of people use it for more like stylized art. I tend to use a mix of cell shading and non-cell shading. But it focuses on like the bigger areas of shadow. And a lot of times you can have multiple different intensities of your cell shading. So I have one layer that's at 100%, and this one I'm going to put at 50%. So how's everyone doing? Have a good night. Sure hope so. Even after experiencing this, hopefully your night is good. Just chilling, yeah. I used to do so much cell shading, but I just kind of don't anymore, so this is fun. That's also where like the discussion of style comes in, because like, do you like cell shading everything? Do you like only cell shading some things and doing like soft shading on others? The world of art is your oyster, your artster, if you will. It's okay if you won't, it's a bad pun. Dun 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 dun. This playlist was a good idea. There's also some people who like to have like super like what's the word I'm looking for? Super clean lines to their cell shading, or maybe you want to just like scribble it in and be done. Just play around with the different things you like until you find a style that you enjoy doing and also like the outcome of. That's like the happy medium that you're trying to find. Before you know it, you'll be making masterpieces like... You'll be making stuff like this. Maybe. If you want to. If you want to, you could make this. is what I'm saying. I'm also gonna go ahead and add some highlights. And those highlights I'm gonna blend. I'm gonna put some more grain on this. A lot of the time, if you use a more unexpected color for your highlight, you may just find you like the outcome. And if you don't, you can always go back and change it to something different. And now the clothing, because now I'm all in. I have to finish this painting / drawing thing. I usually, because I don't know if you've noticed, I'm not the best at staying in the lines. I usually use, the various fill options that Clip Studio Paint offers to get things colored in, cleanly and swiftly. But this time, I'm freehanding it. No rules, just right. My personal headcanon for this image is now that she's going to pick up her gator children from gator school. There was one girl from New Orleans who I was friends with in high school, and they had to lock down her previous school because a gator just kind of wandered onto the property. Maybe this is her. Coming to pick up her kids. Who are we to say that she can't come get her kids? And I'm just gonna do cell shading on the pants as well. And now the top. Oh, that's not what I want. I want the multiply layer, thank you. So for this drawing, I'm not really considering light source or anything. I'm just going right in with the shading. I'll do a different lesson on like directional lighting and whatever. later. But for now, basics. Basics, I say as I shade the crocodile milk. And smudge. You see, class, we're applying what we learned to a practical situation. Knowledge. Ta-da! You learned. I'm proud of you. So, I think that may conclude our art lesson for today. I'm definitely gonna do another one of these because I had a lot of fun. And I'll post like the Spark Notes version on probably my Tumblr because Twitter doesn't allow that many images. So, looks like it's time to find somebody to raid. Bwah, bwah, bwah. Please hold tight as I find someone. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Alright, the only person I follow who is currently live is Skirmisher Cal, so we're gonna raid him. One moment. Oh, no caps lock. Nope. Ah. Never mind, I did it wrong. One moment. Alright, now we're raiding. Thank you so much for listening to my insane ramblings about art. And hopefully you learned something. Good night, everybody.